Kyle Bass is here. We're going to talk China, and I was with Heyman Capital. Welcome.
Great to be here.
You see the journal piece today?
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Let me just tell you what it says. So we've been hearing that China can run TikTok independently, no problemo, nothing to see here. Employees have been noticing a string of ByteDance executives have taken over key positions at TikTok, even moving to the United States to run TikTok here. That plays right into this. So there is something to see here, no?
Yeah, I think one thing that we never talk about with TikTok is the reason the FTC is in place and the reason that foreigners have a hard time getting licenses for TV or radio is the FTC has to approve who gets these licenses to broadcast to Americans and into our homes and households. TikTok broadcasts straight into our kids' bedrooms and has never had to obtain an FTC license. I find that to be super interesting. I think the FTC should be forced to review what's going on at TikTok. How do they broadcast to Americans, to our kids? How does their algorithm play into our daily lives, and how can it change our daily lives?
Would you say the same about Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and the rest of
this?
this?
Yeah, anything that's broadcast. I mean, look, I'm not the FTC, but that's the reason we put them in place. I just feel like these tech companies did an end around to broadcast directly to our kids, and I think it's a problem.
But it doesn't surprise you that ByteDance is taking an even more hands-on role at what people are seeing on it.
I actually think it's insane that TikTok is still operating in the United States. I mean, just think back to prior adversarial relationships we had with countries that we deem to be impediments to U.S. national security. Imagine if we allowed that kind of propaganda to be pushed in the 1980s from Russia. I mean, we would have never allowed that.
Can I ask you sort of a counterfactual question about your view, which is relatively hawkish about China, which is to say, if we were to decouple from China, or frankly, let's do it this way. If we hadn't done what we did over the last 30 years, and let's just stipulate whatever the relationship was over the last 30 years didn't get us where we wanted to be. But if we hadn't approached it that way, where would we be? Would we be in a much worse place?
Well, Trump wouldn't have been president. I mean, we exported 4 million jobs once we allowed China to send the WTO in 2001. 4 million jobs are gone in 6 years. We're having this debate now at the UAW over wages, but realistically, we're talking about implementing EVs all over the country, and EVs require 40% less workers, and they're non-unionized. So we have these issues where if all we're doing is looking for the cheapest labor, and we're looking for the cheapest labor with counterparties that are adversarial to our way of life and to our value system, inevitably. Andrew, I don't think our values are compatible with theirs. Obviously, they're not. They don't care about things that we hold dear to ourselves. And the only reason we overlook those is greed and trying to get something cheaper. Our country and our companies can source things cheaply, maybe not as cheaply as being over there in China, but our relationship, we're actually talking about China's nuclear buildup. We're actually talking about a potential war with China. And we on this channel sit here and talk about, well, maybe we should economically integrate some more.
Well, I think part of that is if you want to prevent a war, having a relationship is better than not having a relationship, no?
Absolutely. Look, we've been begging China to set up military-to-military communications, and they still won't do it. What gets us to the point where we might not have a potential situation in the South China Sea or the Taiwan Strait? I mean, who's acting responsibly and who's acting irresponsibly?
But what you're talking about is cutting communications altogether in, I guess, a Cold War versus a hot war?
I mean, look, we're in a Cold War. They've been fighting it since 2001. I think we've only realized it in the last few years. And now what we're trying to do is protect ourselves a little bit. We're not doing a great job, but we're starting to protect ourselves. There are certain things that we should allow and certain things we shouldn't allow. If we entered a reciprocal relationship with China, why don't we allow everything that they allow in China? They don't allow us to broadcast into their population in China. We give them all of the asymmetries.
I'll bet you we're not on right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know what they do with us. They put the color screen up.
They do, depending on what we're talking about. We'll be on for a while, and then when we disappear.
But handing them all of those asymmetries is not a good idea. Like, why? Again, you can take the race card out of it if we just say, we will allow you to do whatever you allow us to do over there. It's really simple. If that happened, Andrew, it's over.
No. What are you hearing, just back to what we were going to talk about at the top, what are you hearing about on the ground in China right now? It bottomed out already? More to go?
I mean, yeah, look, we all know that whether it's 30, 32, 33% of their economy is real estate's down 20 to 30%. She realized long ago that the speculative boom in real estate is what's dropping their birth rate. It collapsed their birth rate because the men couldn't afford to buy a house when they get out of university. They're not marrying, they're not having kids, they're living in their parents' basements. So she decided to squash real estate. And remember, he's only been at this capitalism thing, or they have, for about 20 years, and that's about it.
Are you of the view that a challenged economy in China makes Xi less likely to deal with, try to take over, for example, Taiwan, because he's dealing with these economic challenges, or that he would be more likely to act out in response? I mean, some people sort of say Putin would act out in an economically challenging environment, but maybe Xi wouldn't. Is this helpful or hurtful when it comes to the Taiwan situation?
Yeah, I think it's harmful. I mean, if you have youth unemployment skyrocketing, and one thing that I don't think has ever been covered, do you know what it takes to be on the rolls, to be considered employed in China? 1 hour a week. You just have to work an hour a week. It's a little bit different than our definition, and they still have north of 20% youth unemployment and growing. Right? They've got every single public developer is in bankruptcy. We saw Evergrande was halted by Hong Kong today. Evergrande and China Garden together, or Country Garden, have $500 billion worth of debt. Our financial crisis, we lost $800 billion in our banking system of $1 trillion, and we recapped our whole banking system and started over. Their banking system is 4 times more levered than ours, and 40% of it's focused on real estate. We all know their banks are insolvent, but that doesn't mean that much because she can just fix them. But their interactions with the rest of the world, they need dollars. So when we get back to this Cold War ideology, we need to start talking about being serious, about putting a deterrent together, saying, if you do take Taiwan, we will press that button, and we will take you off the dollar system. And that kind of deterrence may deter Xi Jinping.
I can't imagine that happening, though, that we're going to take you off the dollar system.
I mean, did you imagine Putin invading Ukraine? I didn't.
No. Look, I realize that this is the one issue that may be bipartisan in Washington still.
Yeah.
But I think what happens next, and that question of what happens next, probably scares people in Washington to the point of, do we really want to pull that lever?
Yeah, I mean, again, but closing our eyes doesn't help either. Like, I think it's very important. You know, I think the China Select Committee is doing a great job. It's a bipartisan committee, and they're doing what they can do to educate America on this. If you think back to the Cold War, we all knew who the bad guy was in the Cold War. Today, we don't have a president willing to call them an adversary. They're a strategic competitor. If you can't define who your adversary is publicly and prepare the people for some potential negative outcome, then you can't even define the battle space. We are so far behind in many areas on our call it force projection side, and on Wall Street, we still have China's hooks are so deep into us that we have CEOs of Carlyle Group. We have all of the big players out there keep saying we need more integration, not less. And I think that they're not interested in our national security. They're interested in making another dollar. And one day we're going to wake up and we're going to realize that that was the wrong bet.